I'm here today to rant to you, and it's a heartfelt rant, I can tell you, in response to the riddle, what do you call a market town without a market? Well, the answer to that, in about a year's time, is very likely to be Abergavenny. Our council has taken a decision to sell off our livestock market and put in its place a bloody great Morrison's. Thank you. Thank you. That's what we need, a bit of participation in this problem. The local community has been opposing this decision since 2004. There's been a fantastically well-organised, well-evidenced, articulate campaign opposing this sale. It's included local businessmen, local traders who absolutely believe that plonking a supermarket in the heart of the town will rip the livelihood out of all the independent traders up and down the street. It's opposed by farmers who like to come in to a proper town and meet up with their friends, meet up with their colleagues. It's a social experience. It's not just a commercial experience. It's opposed by people with environmental credentials who understand the value of building sustainable, authentic, diverse market towns. So why would the council want to do such a thing against all the evidence and against the local opposition? Well, I'm a thoughtful person. I don't like to just take these things in a cynical way. So I popped off to see the council. I popped off to see the leader and the deputy leader and the chief executive and the director of regeneration, who very kindly agreed to see colleagues and me to discuss this issue. So we asked them, you need to explain this to us. You need to explain why, in the face of your rural development strategy, which is about developing tourism, about building the food brand in Monmouthshire, which is about encouraging people in to see the fantastic produce that we have on offer here. Why would you do this? And they gave us 4 reasons. So let's have a look at those 4 reasons one by one. The first reason is Abergavenny needs more footfall. There aren't enough people coming into Abergavenny on the weekends. Now, how many of you would like to come to Abergavenny to go visit a Morrison's? I don't know about you, but when I think about what I'd like to do on the weekend, I don't think, I know, what will I do for my day out? I'll go food shopping. No, people do not go food shopping and combine that with making good use of a market town and the independent retailers. Rather, what happens is they end up doing their food shopping. They think, shall I pop into town for a cup of tea? No, my fish fingers are going to freeze. I'll go straight home. So the idea that supermarkets in the centre of town bring in footfall is an absolute myth, and I'll come back to that one later. The second point they gave us was that the livestock market is no longer fit for purpose. Well, do you know, that's probably not a bad argument, because for the last 15 years that cattle market has had no investment whatsoever. There are some really serious questions that we need to be asking of the auctioneers and of the council to understand exactly why it has been allowed to deteriorate. That in itself is not a good enough reason for closure. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy, so we can't have that one either. The third one is that the Morrison's supermarket will bring in jobs, and Abergavenny needs jobs. Let's just think about the sort of jobs that a Morrison's will bring. First of all, we do have supermarkets in town. We have a Tesco's, we have an Iceland, we have a Waitrose. The Morrison's won't be bringing in fresh jobs. It'll be taking away jobs from those supermarkets because they won't stay open when there's a bloody great supermarket on the cattle market site. So in fact, all of the research and all of the evidence indicates that there'll be a net loss of 200 jobs, not just from the other supermarkets, but also from those independent retailers which will close, which will not survive in the face of that opposition. The fourth reason, and this is the one that makes most sense to me, is that the council will make rather a lot of money. The council will be able to sell that site for, who knows at the moment, it's a bit difficult to know what the real figures are, about £11 million. And by the time they've re-provided a few things, there'll be a net profit of £4 to £5 million off the sale of that site. To me, that is selling our family jewels, our crown jewels, for some short-term gain for a council that needs to do other things to manage its own finances. So for those 4 reasons, they don't stand up well to me, not at all. So there are 2 really, really important reasons why we need to oppose this decision, why we need to mobilise as quickly as we can against this particular decision. And I have to tell you, the clock is ticking. The planning committee has met, they have approved the sale, so any opposition now will only come if we collectively mobilise. And we need to do that for 2 reasons. One is the future of food and farming. We all know that we can't carry on with our food and farming industry as it is. We currently end up industrialising farming and producing rather unpleasant food with poor animal welfare practices, importing food from all around the world, and generating a food culture where kids don't know where their eggs come from, they don't know where their meat comes from, and it completely disconnects people from food and from farming, from producers and from sellers. The Welsh Government's strategy is to address that, is to really challenge that, to reconnect people with the producers, with food and with sustainable farming practices, supporting all the fantastic independent food producers that we have in Monmouthshire, with a properly supported, reinvested livestock market in the heart of the town, bringing in more food fairs, bringing in breed shows, bringing in really interesting, attractive events every single weekend where we can reconnect people, communities with the process of food production, with the process of farming, so that it feels at the heart of our community one more time. The second really important reason is, and I stand here trying to do a bit of a Mary Portas, you'll realise that I'm a bit shorter, a bit wider than she is, and not being paid an enormous amount of money. But there's an enormous amount of research going on right now about the effects of poor planning, but poor processes, plonking supermarkets down in market towns, and what we get instead is, instead of vibrant, authentic towns, we get clone towns. There is a body of evidence that is so overwhelming now from all of those towns who've made these mistakes already, that if we proceed with the decision that is currently on the table, Abergavenny Market, with its wonderful, vibrant, authentic, distinctive character, will, this time next year, in a couple of years' time, be just another clone town. Its heart will be ripped out of it, and our culture, our history, our provenance will be lost. We need everybody who cares about these issues to write to the council, to write to our MP, to write to the Welsh Assembly Government and to say, this is not good enough. This is not good enough. The opposition that's been busy in this town for the last 6 years is kind of worn down now. They're getting exhausted. They've been fighting with a really well-evidenced, articulate case for the last 6 years. They think nobody else cares. And we need to be here to tell them that we care. We care about the future of Abergavenny, and we care about the future of that livestock market.